If you really want to level up your cooking, you know it all starts with one tool, the knife. Let's just forget about all the fancy gadgets for a second. We're going to break down the essential skills you need to cook with confidence and precision, all straight from a professional chef. This right here, this is your foundation.
Okay, I know this sounds totally backwards, but it is the single most important rule in the kitchen. See, a sharp knife does what you tell it to do. It just glides right through food. A dull knife, though, that's going to make you push harder, which means it's way more likely to slip off that onion and, well, you know where it's going. So remember this, start sharp to stay safe.
So why are we focusing so much on just one simple tool? Well, because mastering your knife isn't just about making your food look pretty on Instagram. It fundamentally changes how you cook and what you can do in the kitchen. It's a real game changer.
Let's just break it down into 3 huge benefits. First, and most importantly, proper technique is safe technique. It's as simple as that. Second, when all your pieces are the same size, they cook at the same rate, so no more half-raw, half-mushy carrots in your stew. And finally, being precise means you're being efficient. You get more out of every single vegetable, and that means less food in the bin.
Okay, before we even think about making a cut, we have to talk about the setup. How you stand, how you hold the knife, and how you guide the food. These are the non-negotiable building blocks for everything else. Seriously, get these right, and you're already halfway there.
It really all comes down to these 3 things. The handshake grip gives you control. The claw protects your other hand, and a good square posture gives you a stable, powerful base to work from. Let's take a look at each one. All right, so look at the image on the left. That's the handshake grip. You're literally shaking hands with the handle, pinching the blade with your thumb and index finger. Now look at the picture on the right. A really common mistake is putting your finger on top of the blade. You might think it gives you more control, but all it does is make you tired and throws off your balance. The right grip gives you power and lets you keep going without getting fatigued. Now for your other hand, your guide hand. This is what we call the claw. You tuck your fingertips under so your knuckles make a kind of flat wall. The side of the knife blade rests right up against those knuckles, and they act as both a guide and a safety barrier. Your fingers are tucked away safely, and the knife has no choice but to follow your hand. Perfect.
So, now that we've got our safety down, let's talk about motion. You know, pretty much every cut you'll ever make is just a variation of 2 basic movements. Understanding the difference is absolutely key.
So on one side, you've got the high cut. This is a powerful down and forward chop. It's perfect for bigger, tougher things like a potato. Then on the other side, you have the low cut. See how the tip of the knife pretty much stays on the cutting board? It's a rocking motion, pivoting up and down. This is what you'll use for all your fine, delicate work, like mincing herbs. All right, time to put these moves into practice. We're going to start with the 4 essential everyday cuts that you will use over and over again. These are the absolute workhorses of the kitchen. First up, the chop. This is your go-to when you're making a stock or a sauce that's going to simmer for hours. It's fast, it's efficient, and we are not worried about everything being perfectly uniform. The goal here is just volume and speed, not a pretty presentation. Next, we have the dice. Now, this one is all about precision. The most important first step for any round vegetable, a potato, an onion, whatever, is to slice a little piece off one side. That creates a flat, stable base so it's not rolling around. From there, you cut it into slabs, then into sticks, and finally into perfect, uniform cubes. When you're slicing, the whole point is to get thin, even layers. But here's the secret, especially for something delicate like a tomato, use a gentle sawing motion. Don't just push straight down, you'll crush it. A light back and forth movement lets the sharp blade do the work, and you get these beautiful, clean slices every single time. And rounding out our workhorses is the mince. This is for things like garlic and ginger, where you want tiny little pieces to release all that amazing flavor. For this, you use that low rocking cut we talked about. Rest your other hand on the tip of the knife to hold it steady, and just rock the heel up and down, gathering everything back together until the pieces are super fine.
Okay, so we've got the basics down cold. Now let's move on to the finesse cuts. These are the techniques that are going to add that real professional touch to your food, often used for garnishes or to create really specific textures. Now we're getting into the next level. As you can see, each of these cuts creates a totally unique shape. And this isn't just about making things look good. It's about controlling texture, presentation, and even how fast something cooks. Let's check them out. The Baton and the Julienne are all about the matchstick. This technique actually builds right off the dice. You square off your vegetable, cut it into slabs, and then into sticks. A baton is the thicker stick, kind of like a classic French fry. The julienne, on the other hand, is its super fine, delicate cousin that you see in fancy salads. It just screams professional.
Chiffonade is this beautiful technique that's specifically for leafy herbs like basil or mint. You just stack the leaves up, roll them tightly like a little cigar, and then use a really sharp knife to slice them into thin ribbons. The key is slicing, not chopping, so you don't bruise those delicate leaves and turn them all black.
And now for our angular cuts. The bias cut is just a simple slice on an angle. It looks really elegant, and it also increases the surface area, so things cook faster. The oblique or roll cut is a bit more dynamic. You make one angled cut, roll the vegetable a quarter turn, and cut again at the same angle. It's a brilliant little trick for tapered veggies like carrots that makes sure every single piece cooks perfectly evenly.
So we've covered the grips, the motions, and a whole bunch of different cuts. But just knowing this stuff is only half the battle. To really master these skills, there's one thing you absolutely have to do, and one major mistake you have to avoid.
Just think about it for a sec. With all this focus on your grip and the claw, what's the single most dangerous thing a beginner could possibly do with a knife?
And here's the answer: blocking your own view. You might have seen that viral clip of Kendall Jenner trying to cut a cucumber with her hand all draped awkwardly over the knife. That is a perfect example of what not to do. You have to see the blade and the food at all times. If you can't see what you're cutting, you're just asking for trouble. This is it. This is the final, most crucial piece of advice. You can watch 100 videos, but you will not get better until you pick up a knife and just start cutting. Start slow. Really focus on your grip, your claw, your posture. The speed, that'll come later with time and repetition.
So, after all that, the real question is, what's next for you? Are you going to perfect your dice for a perfect veggie roast? Try a chiffonade of basil on your next pasta? Or maybe even tackle that julienne for a beautiful, fancy salad? The kitchen is waiting for you.